Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of Into the Void! Today, we have a game between Insomnic and Kostek on Abyssal Reef, the latter edition. In the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the red Zerg player. It is Insomnic, which is close to Insomniac. Maybe it's Insomniac in a different language. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is the blue Zerg player. His name is Kostek. Alright, Kostek versus Insomnic. I assume this was not played by two Americans. I'm just going to roll with that. This is probably not the American NA server, but instead, more than likely, going to be something over on the EU server somewheres. Pool into an extractor here for Kostek. Another player going for a hatch first type play. Oh, Insomnic actually might be. And again, this is pretty safe. This is pretty safe to do in Legacy of the Void because you start with so many workers. And the time difference between getting your pool up versus on a hatch first versus getting your pool up on a pool first is not as different as it used to be in Heart of the Swarm. It used to be going hatch first against a pool first was basically suicide in the lower leagues, but now not so much. So we'll see if Insomnic can hold off this pool first one base play. He's scouting it. Insomnic is scouting it with a drone, just staring at the hatchery, going, oh, that hatchery looks like my hatchery. Only blue. And look at him flapping his wings, because these guys float. I'm pretty sure they float, you guys. I don't think they have feet. That flapping does not seem fast enough to keep it floating either. I don't understand Zerg biology at all. Oh my goodness, Insomnic is going for a third hatch. He does have a pool in here, but he doesn't have an extractor. Oh man, if it's Speedling versus Slowling, even if Insomnic has a decent number of lings out, he's in trouble. Also, goodness gracious, no queen, because there's no spawning pool yet. Oh. Alright, drone gets murdered by a couple lings out for Kostek on his side. Decides to send them on out. The good news is Kostek is not being super aggressive. These lings are playing defensively. Which, man, if you go pool first, you have got to send these guys out. You have to go to try to get damage done. Because you know what? You can get some damage done with these 4 lings. If you had started them out when they were made, they wouldn't be there yet. But they'd be there before a queen was out, before any lings were out. They'd have a couple minutes. Well, maybe less than a minute, but seconds anyway. Full seconds of just unrestricted access to these drones. And usually, if you have unrestricted access to drones, you want to murder them. That's kind of how this works. All right, but playing defensively as Kostek, he is going for a hatch himself now. After those lings are out, he's going for a Roach Warren. Still no gas from Insomnic. So, okay, pro tip for this Into the Void game, which is a Silver League game, I forgot to mention. And I also forgot to mention, if you want to send me your Into the Void game to be cast, make sure it's silver or bronze, and shoot it to falconpaladin@gmail.com with the subject of Into the Void. And I'll make sure our screeners look at it, and the best ones will be chosen. Hatch there for Kostek. Nothing really crazy going on today. Roach Warren 2. Overlord scouting in for Insomnic. Gonna commit suicide, though. Because, by golly, there's a queen here, and she is super mad. All right, Lings of Queens now out for Insomnic. I just feel like Insomnic is in a much better position. It's only 21 to 21 harvesters, mind you. But Insomnic with this third base can really start to drone up hard, can make a bunch of lings if necessary. Are both players going to lose an Overlord here? Insomnic loses one, and Kostek loses one. Kostek was prepared, though. Look at this. He already had an Overlord out. So he's not supply blocked while Insomnic is. Oh, Insomnic. Well, okay, he did. He was supply blocked for a couple seconds. That wasn't too bad. That was not too bad. Fair enough, fair enough. Is Kostek going Lair? Kostek is going Lair at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. This is like the most defensive Zerg versus Zerg I've ever seen in my entire life. And again, it is Into the Void. That explains a lot. Insomnic needs to transfer a bunch of these drones down to the natural base or down to the third base. The third base still has drones. Still has no drones working. There's one here, but it's not rallied. Okay, so you have to take your hatchery, right-click on the minerals there, and then the drones will... They don't have a rally point. Why are they... I'm so confused. Did you transfer some? Nope, still 19 out of 16. I guess he's maybe keeping the drones around to transfer onto the extractors that he is now getting. Mind you, he's now getting gas. Kostek has had gas for a while. He has used that gas to make 4 roaches, which again, playing extremely defensively with this. I think this is going to be one of our standard low-level games where it comes down to one major engagement. One of the players wins this thing, and one of the players dies, and that's it. It's one engagement, somebody taps out, the end. That's what the vast majority, especially of low-level StarCraft 2 games, come down to. The ones that I like to cast are longer, so they're more entertaining. But if you've ever played ladder, you know that's how it usually works. Somebody makes a really nice 2-base timing push on you and kills you, or else you hold it and then counterattack and they die. It's really not. These games don't usually go on for 20 to 30 minutes. on the ladder. Double evolution chamber from Kostek. Kostek is actually doing all right. I like that he's getting an army. That's nice. That's real nice. Army supply 1,050 for Insomnic versus 1,350 for Kostek. He's a little bit bigger. And plus roaches versus 18 lings. 18 lings for Insomnic versus 9 roaches for Kostek. That's a pretty good ratio of roach, right? You want to, if you get surrounded by lings, you're in a bad place. But if you have 1 roach for every 2 lings, it's hard for a surround to happen. You're going to have roaches in the middle, shooting out there too. The upgrades for Insomnic's lings are not going to be there because it does not have an evolution chamber. If you're going just lings, okay, I guess he is going for a lair now, but if you have just lings, at least get +1 armor, so your lings can survive a single hit from banelings, or get +1 attack if your opponent's going roaches. +1 attack, lings do very well against roaches. I will tell you that much. That has been my experience and what I have seen. This poor drone just wants to get to work, but he's been told to hover here next to his larva. His younger brothers, no big deal. Lings coming on up here for Kostek. There might pick off one of these queens. Yep, queen is dead. Lings pulling back. Look at this pullback from Kostek, and traps a couple of Insomnic's lings there too. This is pretty good silver maneuvering. Pretty good hold by Insomnic though. He's got his lings at the top of the ramp. He's got queens. Assisting you true. This roach count is just too high. Too high for Kostek though. Oh my goodness gracious. And we are out. We are out. That queen is gone. All the lings are gone. Kostek actually kiting with these roaches. Not something we see every day in silver. But again, this is not your mom and dad's silver from back in the Wings of Liberty days. And again, that might just be it. Honestly, Kostek, I don't know. Insomnic is getting a Spire. He could possibly get some mutas out and handle this, but this is real scary. These are speed roaches with speedlings. It's 74 to 29 total supply. This main base is, there's nothing here anymore. No lings, no queens. The drones need to run, but that is something you can't really expect in Into the Void necessarily. Both players floating tons of money, which is what, again, you can expect in Into the Void, and that's a good game. That is a good game from Insomnic. Insomnic with a GG, Kostek with a GG, and this is going to be game 1 of a sneaky twofer. Haven't done a sneaky twofer for Into the Void recently, or ever, possibly. So we got this little ZVZ. Good attack by Kostek, about a 7.5 minutes with a bunch of roaches with speed. No upgrades on these guys. He was working on it, right? But he didn't wait for the upgrades. It didn't matter, but maybe in the higher levels it will. And Insomnic just droned up a little bit too hard. Didn't scout. Notice no Overlord placement down here at all. He had no idea. No idea when Kostek was coming to kill him. And if you're going to go 3-hatch that early, you have to have intel. You have to know what your opponent is up to. So, rough show by Insomnic, but Kostek, excellent job. Good attack. And like I said, sometimes it's just one attack and done. So game 2 coming up next in the Sneaky Twofer in just a second. Welcome back to the Sneaky Twofer of Into the Void. Game number 2 will also be a mirror matchup. This time between Eurotrash and Mgorvat on Odyssey, the latter edition. In the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the red Protoss player, Eurotrash. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is the blue Protoss player, Mgorvat. All right, so this is also silver level, sent to me at falconpaladin@gmail.com with the subject of Into the Void. And let's see how these players do. Let's see how PvP works out at the lower levels. I don't think I've cast a PvP at the lower levels in a while. Eurotrash obviously setting up for a 1-gate expand based on this pylon placement right in front of his natural. On the other hand, Mgorvat puts his pylon right next to his main nexus. Actually, sorry, one up at the top of the ramp, one by his main nexus, and then putting his gateway at the top of the ramp as well. So he's one base in it. He is one base in it, which can be difficult to hold if you happen to be Eurotrash here. But again, a skilled player can 1-gate expand in the situation. Really have no problems at all. Next up after the gateway is going to be a cybernetics core, a pylon, and another assimilator. And then once that cyber core is down, we should see what tech is chosen by Eurotrash, unless, because this is Into the Void, Eurotrash is going to choose to go straight gateway units against his Protoss opponent, which is a terrible, terrible idea. You need immortals. You need disruptors. You need void rays. You need a lot of things to go against PvP. Gateway units are pretty much going to get crushed by a Protoss player who also has gateway units, but is being helped by some higher tier 3 units too. That's just how it is, right? That's exactly how it is. There's that cyber core on the way for Mgorvat, and actually getting double assimilator as Eurotrash before the cyber core and a nexus before the cyber core, and there it is. So not exactly your standard 1-gate expand build. Eurotrash making the cyber core late, which means his tech's going to be later too. I mean, it's okay. Compared to Mgorvat's cyber, it's actually not that much of a difference, according to these progress bars here. Plus, he's got an expansion coming in, so unless Mgorvat is somehow able to take advantage of this, which I can't see that happening into the void, these players are going to be pretty timid, I imagine. Single Bob the Zealot out. Again, hat tip to Lag TV. Naming units kind of came from them as far as I'm concerned. Man, look at that Zealot. He's so cool. His Calabrade back there and his Psyblade's out. Why are his Psyblade's out? Maybe if he gets a report that there are lings coming, he needs to have those things lit. But man, don't those take power? I don't know. Man, Zealots look cool, don't they? They look real cool. Next up is another Zealot for Mgorvat. So, maybe not. Maybe we're just... And a Forge. I might have gotten this backwards. I think maybe Eurotrash is the one who's going to go higher tech here, while Mgorvat is going to sit on the not higher tech for a while. Really got to chrono boost that Warp Gate, you guys. Although if neither of you are chrono boosting Warp Gate, it's kind of... Alright, I guess it's okay. It could be worse. It could be worse. Let's just say that. Stalkers here for Eurotrash. Stalkers are better than Zealots, assuming the Zealots don't have charge, and assuming the Stalker player knows how to micro, which is, again, not a guarantee. Here and into the void. I like the Forge for Mgorvat, either for a cannon or upgrades. Yeah, +1 attack started this early is going to be real nice for him. Real nice. Absolutely. And again, chrono boosting out your Zealots and your Stalkers out of your non-warp gates. Just be chrono boosting the Cyber Core. This is a really long upgrade, you guys. Look at how long it takes. 114 in-game seconds. 80. 81. So slow. So dang slow. Alright, so Mgorvat, despite the fact that he didn't go 1 gate expand, has expanded successfully. 28 to 25 Harvesters, has more workers than Eurotrash too. And is anybody... Who's going to be the one? Oh, it's a Robo Facility from Eurotrash. Excellent. Going Robotics Facility. Immortals are so good against Protoss. Most of the stuff you're going to fight against in the PvP is going to be armored. Zealot's an exception, for sure, but against other Immortals, really nice. Against Stalkers, really nice, too. And Stalker seems to be kind of the backbone of PvP. Stalkers walking through the shallows here on the Odyssey. Well, not the Odyssey. It's just Odyssey. Just Odyssey Ladder Edition. Splash, splash, splash. Notice they stop splashing after they're in there for a bit. Kind of weird. Sentry's on the way from Eurotrash too. Back home though, mind you, he's not warping it at the front. And here we go, 4 Stalkers versus 2 Zealots rather. The Zealots very smartly pulling back. Mothership Core, there's the Photon Overcharge. Get out, run! Oh my gosh, run. Photon Overcharge is kind of a big deal right now, but kind of threw both of them out there. One would have been enough, Mgorvat, pro tip there. 1 Photon Overcharge would have been plenty to shoo those Stalkers away. Now some Stalkers have warped in for Mgorvat on his own. Is his warp gate done? It is, obviously, because he's warping stuff in. It is finished. Eurotrash not making stuff back home while he's microing out front, which is a problem that most players fall into, unless they're if they're sub-GM. But he did just start Immortal production, which is nice. Some sentries here for defense too. But Mgorvat is not moving out, man. He has no interest in getting out of here, which is okay. It is totally fine. Can live with it. Oh, the slow warping. Oh, wait. What? Oh, because it's using... No? This one? Have they all just been slow warpings? Yeah, because this pylon isn't touching the Nexus or this gateway. It's like real close to both, though. That's a 16-second warping instead of the nice 2-second, which if your pylon is touching a Nexus or a gateway. Which, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty well known, but hey, this is Into the Void. This is where we learn StarCraft. For those of you who may be fairly new to the way things are. Forge coming up from Eurotrash. +2 is already on the way for Mgorvat. And a Twilight Council from Eurotrash. Additional gateways. I'm liking the additional gateways. More production facilities are nice. Mgorvat already has a few of those. And he's getting... Oh, he's going double. Double robotics facility here. These guys have Blink? They do not have Blink. Where are they? They checking for a third? I think they're checking for a third. Which is not here yet. Not here yet. Everything's totally cool. Don't worry about us. Immortal production still going. +1 ground weapons from Eurotrash. Getting Blink. Actually, both players are getting Blink. Mgorvat working on Blink. I think he's trying to do a Blink attack. But you need something to spot the high ground. Like an Observer would be nice. And you need Blink, which you don't have yet. And you're not chrono boosting out. He is chrono boosting +2 attack, which does seem like a good use of chrono boost. I'm not going to complain about that even a tiny bit. No complaints on Robotics Bay from Eurotrash. So Colossus or Disruptor, pretty fine. In PvP, Disruptor hits, the Purification Novas do one-shot Stalkers, and again, since there's a lot of Stalkers on both sides, it's going to be great. They one-shot Sentries and Zealots, too. They do not one-shot an Immortal. Isn't it, 175 total damage? I don't remember. Where are my Disruptors at? Doesn't say, just says heavy area damage. Stalker's trying to attack. Good Guardian showed up by Eurotrash, but 2 Immortals in this mix means the Stalkers do not want to engage. And M. Gorvat knows that. He recognizes that is a problem and decides to head on up to go and join the beach party here on Odyssey. Everything is tiny, though. I think it's for, like, tiny people. Not so much full-size Terrans or especially Protoss. Protoss are real big. Third base from M. Gorvat. 3 cannons at the front, 3 pylons for photon overcharging. And a third nexus just about done for our blue Protoss player. Looking good. Looking good. Warp Prism is out for M. Gorvat. M. Gorvat's kind of fun, too. We'll go with M. Gorvat, though. And accidentally scouting this hallucinated Phoenix is an observer for M. Gorvat. He's going to try to blink up here. Get some stuff done. There are good pylons in placement for photon overcharge. Oh my god, photon overcharge. And Eurotrash heading out for an attack from the top left to the bottom right, sending a hallucinated Phoenix down along the bottom side, scouting everywhere to see if there's a third base up somewhere. A sneaky third base. I like that. Intel is good. Intel is always really good. Dark Shrine and Disruptors have begun here from Eurotrash. Let's see if we can see how much that Purification Nova actually does. Hallucinated Phoenix doesn't get hit by anything and explodes happily. And there's the blink. There's the blink up here, taking down cannons. Photon Overcharge really wrecking the show, though. Trying to slow warp in some Zealots. Oh no, chose the wrong pylon. That's a right pylon. Zealots attacking. Photon Overcharge having a whale of a time. 4 kills on that pylon. And some damage done here. 4 probes killed by Eurotrash. Only 2 by M. Gorvat, though. That's not ideal. I'm going to say that's not ideal. Where my Disruptor at? Here you are. Does 145 splash damage and an additional 55 shield damage. That's why. That's why they one-shot Stalker. Stalker's attacking into this third base of M. Gorvat from the backside, though. Surprise! Some Stalkers here from M. Gorvat. Got an Immortal, not really attacking anything right now, which is problematic. The Zealots are on the Immortal. The Immortals for Eurotrash are involved, and wow. Just steamrolled that, and that's the good game. Holy shamoly, good game from M. Gorvat. Eurotrash is our winner, and we will follow him in his quest to make sure that his opponent fully dies before the end of the game. And once again, kind of the first major engagement turns into a win for the winner, who is Eurotrash. And yeah, the Immortals were fantastic. M. Gorvat only made 1 in the entire game. No, he still has 2. Where are they? Hold on, we interrupt this. Oh, he's got 2. I think they just popped out of that robotics facility is what they did. That's what they did. Too little, too late, I would say. So pretty good engagement there. Just had a bigger army. I mean, sometimes that's all it is. And Into the Void is having more stuff than your opponent. Always be making probes. Always be making pylons if you're Protoss. Always be spending your money. Make enough production facilities so you can always spend your money. Hotkey your stuff. I mean, there's just so many different ways you can do this. And Eurotrash did a lot of them, so he wins. All right, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with a sneaky twofer Into the Void. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.
Ashamed by what you have done. There is no redemption, and so you must run. And it's taken your heart and broken your soul. You cannot go back until you're made whole. And you're running You go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, there's a light upon you, and you follow it on, looking for a reason and a way to atone. All around you, the planets and stars, you're lost in a maelstrom of a great new unknown. And you're running into the void. You go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, and you're running into the void. You go searching into the void. And you're running into the void.